Back in the day, the layoff, when it used to happen, it was a big deal. You used to see it in the news. It used to be the hot topic that everybody talks about. However, right now, it's almost every month you hear about a layoff. Big scale, small scale, one of the big leaders in the industry laying off a whole department, laying off thousands of people, and sometimes small startup, cutting off maybe a department or some teams. This is not a problem. I think it's becoming a lot more often. Back in the day, it used to be the option that companies opt in for when they're financially struggling, and probably right before they shut down. But right now, there are a lot of reasons companies do layoff. First thing first, to look more profitable. Sometimes the company is doing very well and successful and actually growing, but they decide to probably cut more people because of, they want to look more profitable. It could be also right now as a side effect of the AI. A lot of companies right now trying to explore ways to optimize the manual repetitive tasks and replace these functions with AI. A lot of them are successful, a lot of them are struggling, and some still figuring out how to do it. Another reason as well, it could be maybe to correct a bad decision that was made by the leadership. Sometimes they just decide to invest in this industry or this country, or maybe in this feature or new product, and then after sometimes, if it's not working out, they make the wise decision of not continue to invest in this area since the ROI is low, and better off directing the resources somewhere else. And sometimes just because maybe a group of team members are not performing very well. It just happens, right? Or decide it's better off to kind of outsource this function. So the list goes on and on and on. Why I'm talking about it today? I'm talking about it today because I'm still seeing people surprised when this happened. I'm still seeing people, on LinkedIn, like kind of disappointed or shocked maybe, because they have been in the company for a very long time, or maybe, I don't know, millions reasons. We don't need to talk about each one of them. And I think it's time to change this perspective. It's layoff right now should be something that you definitely need to account for and expect exactly the same way you account for promotion and plan for it, or maybe change job from one, from time to another, or maybe change teams. Because it's now, as you can see, like it's not always gonna be because of reasons within your control. Sometimes it's gonna be because of other reasons that is far away from what you can control. And it's happening more often now. And when it happens more often, when you hear about it in the news more often, it's a sign for you that you need to prepare for it. Before I talk about how can you prepare for it and give you some tips based on my experience, I want to talk about there are two kind of situations where you might be impacted with a layoff. Some could be completely out of your control, and that's the easy part, where it's because of a new company acquisition, or maybe as I mentioned, maybe the company suddenly decided to look more lean or profitable, and they took you by surprise, or all the other reasons that we talked about. But you're doing your part, you're performing very well, you're choosing the right team, you are keeping an eye on the company performance, and you got surprised. There is nothing you can do over here. The second reason, and this is the one that matters the most, is things within your control. I think the obvious one is performance, because sometimes we layoff, when companies conduct layoffs, especially for financial reasons, they decide definitely to cut the least ROI generating employees. So you definitely don't want to be on this list. So if that's one of the reasons that you probably kind of want to reflect on and make sure that is not the case. And it doesn't necessarily have to be that you are on PIP or clearly have performance issues. Sometimes it's just like you are costing, or maybe kind of doing a mediocrity work, and you just like pushing it in a very basic way without excelling or pushing above and beyond. That's one. So the second reason also you need to think of is anticipating the red flags, right? If you see signs that the company is struggling, if you see signs that of making poor decisions, maybe a huge competitor came in the market, like these other signs as well, you probably want to keep an eye on them and want to make sure that you kind of evaluate and think like, oh, what does this mean for me? And ask these tough questions to your leadership. And make sure you prepare for it. So this is something that you need to keep an eye on, because if you haven't and you're becoming like, oh, I'm very optimistic and I just want to kind of stick there forever because, that's, I don't know, whatever kind of reason, it could be loyalty, it could be whatever, any other reason that you have in mind. But this is something that you can control and you need to anticipate. And sometimes politics. Maybe you haven't played politics very well, or maybe you played in the wrong team. That sometimes can impact you as well. So all of these areas are areas that are within your control. And if you are impacted with layoffs, I think you definitely need to take a good look in the mirror and reflect on yourself and ask yourself, if there anything, I have done that kind of maybe contributed to this, or maybe made me one of the reasons why I'm on this list, and try to reflect on yourself. And I know it can be a bit tough, maybe not in the first couple of weeks, but this is a conversation you need to have. And maybe if you have some people that you trust in the company, ask them this tough question, and hopefully they will be very honest with you and tell you as well if they see something that you could have done differently. All right, let's talk about the last part, which is how can you prepare for this? Honestly, if there are a few tips, if you are able to do them, like dealing with layoff, first of all, it will not be a surprise. Second is just like gonna be zero stress for you. And the less stressed you are, the better you will be in behaving during your exit. And also the better you will be in terms of kind of making the decision of your next rule. Because you don't want to be in a desperate position and just end up taking anything that can pay the bills and then, end up regretting it later, right? So what are the things that you can do? I think the first thing first is you gotta prepare financially. You need to have an emergency fund in this, very volatile market with all the changes that are happening. You gotta at least have 3 months up to 6 months, and you should probably increase it more as you see the risk factor is increasing. Cash, uninvested in any other asset and ready for you to deploy if needed. That's the most important piece. If you don't have this, you have to have this. Even if in the happy scenarios, everything is going well, you gotta have some cash with you. Maybe you can decrease the fund a little bit, but not below 3 months of expenses. And I'm not talking about, your monthly rent. Talk about what do you actually spend on your normal life, your basics, your bills, your rent, your maybe your outings, live normally. Maybe without lavish lifestyle experiences, but at least you don't want to feel the pain of the money. That's one. Second, if you have money invested in anything, like let's say saved right now or in stocks or anything, I think you really need to consider properties that can bring you some rental income. These things have different psychological effect in such events because even if you have, let's say 10 months of savings with you, it's just the fact that you're looking at them every month and seeing them decreasing slowly, it's just gonna stress you out. What you want to do is you want to be in a position where they are decreasing, but also there is some income coming, even if this income is half, 15%, 10% of what you earn. It just have positive psychological effect on you. And also might help you in a situation where maybe you can move temporarily to an area where the expenses are low and they decrease the pressure on yourself. But you have to have this in place. So think about, so we said first, emergency fund. Second is assets that drive you passive income. Third is keeping your hard skills and technical skills fresh. Just make sure that you are, if you go tomorrow to any interview in the market, you will be able to perform. If you are engineering manager, make sure you from time to time to touch the code base, you still read it, you still refresh your skills about it, you are involved in the maybe architecture, the decisions, so you keep your skills sharp as if you are one of the ICs. The other thing is keep your profile on LinkedIn and CV regularly fresh. Always reflecting what you are working on. Like have a description in every job what you are doing, and make sure it's SEO friendly. Have the right keyword that people look for probably a job that you'll be interested in. And the next one is active networking. Networking is really, really important, especially as you get more and more senior. The likelihood of you joining a company through referral, it increases massively. So have some good relationship with leaders in your industry, have some good relationships maybe in people in different companies, keep an eye on what's going on in other areas, and make sure the relationship is maintained. Relationship is only not taking only, like I think you gotta start give first, help others first, and don't do it just purely so you can get the help that you need. I think people will feel it. Like you gotta have genuine relationship. You always gonna have tons of benefits from networking in the industry, beyond just getting a job if you need the job, but make sure you are a giver in the relationship, and make sure you give other people and help them without any expectations whenever you can. And keep in mind that not everybody that you will help you back, so kind of lower your expectation from this, because there is a lot of people in the industry that can just know you as long as things are going well, and they can benefit from your relationship, and once you need them, you will not find them. So that's fine. It's part of life. Don't take it personally. Preparing for this, trust me, psychologically, you will be in a much better position if you in the unlikely event get impacted. So keep that in mind. Be prepared for it. It's just now becoming more often and happening a lot more, especially in the big tech companies and companies that work in something innovative or increase, kind of growing rapidly. Reasons can be within your control or outside your control, but always take a good look in the mirror and see if there is anything you could have done to decrease the risk. And last but not least, be prepared financially by your savings and passive income if you can, and try to build it slowly, so you are not in a desperate position if you are impacted and you kind of find yourself making a poor decision when it's come to what is the next opportunity you can jump off. You find yourself in a more relaxed way, and also it will help you have a proper decent exit, because you will not feel this level of personal betrayal and you take it personally, and the pressure financially, and you feel like the company's betrayed. No, it's nothing. It's pure business, right? So it's and you will be able to maintain more decent exit that people will always remember you for in a positive manner. That's all. Thank you so much for listening, and if you found this insightful, please subscribe to the podcast, and see you in the next episode.